Welcome, good afternoon. My name is Richard Garsthagen. I do work for Oracle as a business development manager for our cloud. So that's actually what I'll be talking to you about today. Specifically, of course, in the light of becoming more agile as a company. Of course, I think nowadays most companies agree going towards the cloud, you gain much more flexibility, lower your costs and those kinds of things. And traditionally, of course, when people think about cloud computing, that's why they think about the AWSs of this world, the Googles of this world. Unfortunately, they don't think much about Oracle, and which is a bit of a shame, because actually we do make a cloud ourselves as well, and we actually are, while we maybe started a little bit later than some of the other companies that are out there, we are very innovative in the way what we are doing with our cloud. That could really leverage you and those kind of things. And a lot of people always think, oh, you're late to the game, is that a bad thing? But if you really think about it, Google wasn't the first search engine in the world. They actually started very late, and therefore they learned a lot of things. Facebook definitely wasn't the first social media website in the world. They looked at others, the MySpaces of this world and that kind of stuff. And this is a bit of our take as well. Even though we started a little bit late, we therefore learned significantly more and had a really different take on doing cloud computing and being able to provide our customers with this agility, flexibility, but in a different way. We come from an enterprise business. We have a lot of existing customers. If you compare us to, for instance, an Amazon, Amazon's typical customer is a company that has never bought a server before in their life. They straight went into the cloud, they built into the cloud with the limitations of what the cloud provider was giving them, and they learned to live with that. Our customer base is very different. We have customers for decades that are very used to very strict procedures, security policies, all those kinds of things, but they still also want to get the flexibilities and freedoms of what they're seeing from the AWSs and those kinds of things. So we really wanted to build a cloud for the enterprise kind of companies and startups all alike that join those two things together to get enterprise features, enterprise security, those kinds of things, but still get the same flexibility of what people are seeing in the other clouds. And the way we actually wanted to do this is to really build a different public cloud than anyone else. And the real reason why we really wanted to do that is we have been making applications ourselves for a long time. And we have a big SaaS portfolio of applications. And a few years ago, about 6-7 years ago, we were actually struggling to take all of our own applications and running them on the cloud architecture that we had in those days. On our own cloud. We were actually struggling to putting our own apps on our own cloud. So we completely stopped the boat, and we really wanted to rethink on how we should really be building a proper public cloud. So about 6 years ago, actually Larry, our big boss, actually opened up a secret office in Seattle. Normally we sit in sunny San Francisco. Why in Seattle? Well, that's where the headquarters of AWS, the headquarters of Google, and the headquarters of Azure is. So the three big leading companies. And we actually pulled away 350 people, technology people, from those three big cloud vendors. And we gave them this lifetime opportunity saying, now knowing everything that you know today about running a public cloud, if you can do it over tomorrow with a blank sheet of paper, what would you do different? And that's how you can make big steps in innovation instead of just trying to make small steps every single day. And this is what these people set to work at. And they took 2.5 years to develop something completely new in secrecy. And we launched about 4 years ago a completely new public cloud architecture for our customers to consume. And what is the main thing that they wanted to tackle is the big foundation of being a public cloud vendor. If you are a public cloud vendor, of course we need to provide IT services, compute, storage, networking, those kinds of things. But the number one thing that makes us unique as a public cloud vendor is that we need to make sure that our customers stay separated from each other. That one customer cannot screw up another customer, can touch them, can see their data, can do whatever. And today, in the industry, everyone has been already doing this, of course, as a public cloud vendor, but they have been doing this using a technology called server virtualization. Server virtualization, like what people have been using in their own data centers, they are using that in the public cloud. Server virtualization, where on the physical server sits a piece of software that virtualizes the computer, and being able to therefore provide that smaller parts of it to their customers, to their tenants, by creating virtual switches, virtual machines, and making sure that one virtual switch belongs to customer A and one virtual switch belongs to customer B, and then you can put your VMs on it and those kinds of things. In one way, there's nothing wrong with virtualization in your own data center probably. I worked 9 years for VMware, can't bitch too much about virtualization, but there's definitely from a public cloud vendor's perspective some concerns about this model. Performance-wise, size-wise, but also especially from a security perspective. And nowadays there are like these Intel processor leaks and those kinds of things. And in theory you can reach out into the processor and gain into any other process. In an architecture like this, it would mean not just that one customer can touch another customer, but more even scarier is that one customer can go into the cloud management layer. Because if you can get into the cloud management layer, you're like God. You can go anywhere you want, you can touch everywhere you want. So we really wanted to build a public cloud architecture that does not have any dependency, any reliability on server virtualization. And that is what this team of people actually reinvented on how to run a public cloud. And we did that by saying, okay, we still want to make sure that, of course, we can keep customer A from customer B separated, but instead of doing it on the servers, where also the customer run their applications, we wanted to do that in a completely separate layer, a physical separate layer. And in our case, we are managing our customers what we call in the network. So in our networking layer, we have built all the components, all the technologies to keep customer A from customer B separated. Now, because we're doing it in the networking layer, we have no dependency on server virtualization. So therefore, for one thing, we can offer up bare metal servers. We can offer up customers a physical server. And that physical server does not have any software from Oracle on it. It does not have any other tenant on it. It is like a physical server that you can have today in your own data center. But this one you can get with a click of a button instantly and make it disappear with a click of a button if you don't need it anymore and you only pay for what you use. It is as flexible, as easy to use as a virtual machine, but it is a physical machine. You can run your own operating system on it, you can run your own container platform on it, you can run any hypervisor you want on it, so you can run an OVM, KVM, Oracle VM, VMware, whatever you want. You can run all the kind of things on top of that. You can do whatever the hell you want with it. Now, people still want to have virtual machines as well, because sometimes you don't need a whole big server, you need something smaller. So we still provide virtual machines as well, and of course then we do run virtualization. We have to provide virtualization to be able to run virtual machines. But even in this case here, based on our different architecture, it is still fully isolated in the networking layer. So for all these virtual machines to talk to the network, to do disk I/O, network I/O, they have to go to the outside networking layer. Even if this virtual machine wants to reach out to that virtual machine, it goes outside and inside. There is no way for one virtual machine to therefore reach out to the other virtual machines in case the environment got hacked or something like that. The nice thing about this environment as well is there's no virtual switches or anything like that. These virtual machines directly talk to the hardware, directly talk to the networking layer, and therefore there is no overhead to do disk I/O or network I/O and those kinds of things. And that really also makes sure that we don't just have great isolation, but we have significantly better performance than what you would see in a classical environment. So that's one of the unique things of our cloud. We give our customers choice of isolation. And the more and more people start putting enterprise, very serious production kind of workloads into the public clouds, they need to make sure that they're confident in being able to run those kinds of workloads and have proper isolation of everything else that sits in those same data centers. So yes, we still provide virtual machines and containers, and if customers want, we can provide it on what we call a multi-tenant platform, where you are sharing the physical server with other people on that server. We still isolate it in a better way than the other public cloud vendors do, but that's one way we still offer. But we also provide you to work with virtual machines. While you're running with virtual machines, the physical server that sits underneath it is completely dedicated to just that customer. So still, while I have the ease of virtual machines, I'm not sharing anything with other customers. Or I can use a bare metal server where, well, it's definitely then just mine, no one else sits on it, it's the server's just completely for me. And we can't just do that with generic compute workloads, but of course Oracle, we make databases. The same thing for our database, we offer the kind of options there that you can have a database on a multi-tenant platform where we manage for you, that kind of stuff, or you can get the database service in many forms and shapes on a fully isolated platform. I'll come back to the database bit in a little bit. Now the networking part that I said, that's really what makes the Oracle Cloud very unique. That's our secret sauce, our proprietary technology. And besides it taking care of keeping the customer separated, the other thing it takes care of is performance. So our network, as I said, is something we designed completely from scratch. And we already designed that based on knowing what the new type of application deployments would be. 5 years ago, we could see this concept of containers and microservices and all that kind of stuff coming up. So we wanted to make sure that we created a network that can really facilitate those kind of modern workloads. If you think about it, when you run lots of microservices, lots of computes and that kind of stuff instead of one big monolithic application, you have all these units out there and they all still need to be able to communicate with each other, synchronize data and those kinds of things. So the networking layer actually is the most important layer for a cloud native application. Well, our networking technology that we are using is truly unique. From any compute node to any other compute node in our data center, across all the thousands and thousands of servers, there's always a maximum of just 2 jumps, 2 hops from one server to another server with guaranteed 2 times 25 gigabit of bandwidth. This provides an extremely low latency, a seriously extremely low latency and high throughput. And as I said, especially for cloud native applications that really rely on distributed systems, you can get performances in our cloud that don't just compete or outperform any other public cloud out there. This will outperform anything you have on premise. You on premise will not be able to get the same kind of networking performance with the same kind of low latencies that we can actually offer up in our cloud. Now, so we provide a very unique cloud. Very fast, high performance, super form of isolation, super security. And then people of course think, well, it says Oracle on it, so it's going to cost me a Ferrari or something like that. But actually also on that side, we wanted to really make sure that we are very flexible and very competitive from a pricing perspective. Now let's take an average compute shape, a 4-core, 8 virtual CPU, a threaded machine on Amazon or Azure. And these are standard list pricing, no discounts and that kind of stuff, no special trickery or anything like that. One of these shapes costs on Azure and AWS around 30-something cents. That same shape with double the amount of RAM in our environment is just 25 cents of shapes. And this is based on Intel processors, but we also offer up the latest AMD EPYC processors, and then that same shape is only just 12 cents an hour. So instead of running something at 30 cents an hour, I'm running something at 12 cents an hour. And here I'm not doing some special marketing trick saying it's price per performance or anything like that. That typical, you see a lot of things that are happening by marketing things. No. I guarantee you that the left side easily outperforms those shapes. But even if I completely ignore that fact, it is still just based pure on price, significantly cheaper. And it's not just cheaper on compute, the CPU and the RAM, it is significantly cheaper on storage, significantly cheaper on networking costs and those kinds of things. So we truly can offer a platform where our customers can run any application. Anything you can run today on-premise on x86, we can run in our cloud. Worst case, on a full bare metal server, or in a more optimized form in virtual machines, in containers, or serverless in any form or shape that you want. And we can do this at high level of securities with incredible great performance and incredible great pricing. Now we understand that this world, of course, is not just about running these monolithic applications and that people care about this cloud native stuff. And as said, our networking in our cloud was designed from day one to support cloud native applications. It was not something that we later on bolted on top of our cloud or something like that. No, from day one we saw this coming and we wanted to make sure that our portfolio is fully capable of running these cloud native applications. So we support all the concepts to do infrastructure as a code. If you want to use a Terraform, an Ansible to deploy your environments, to create environments, we have full module support for the Oracle Cloud with those kinds of platforms. We support things like, of course, containers and Kubernetes and those kinds of things. And we even offer up Kubernetes for free as a service, as a fully managed service. So if tomorrow you want to start deploying your containers and you want to use Kubernetes to manage that and orchestrate that, you click one button, you have a Kubernetes cluster, and the only thing you pay for is the bare metal service or the virtual machines that you use to deploy your containers onto. But the Kubernetes cluster itself is managed by us, run by us, free of charge, just for you to use. So this really allows you to very quickly have an environment up and going and not have to worry about it from an infrastructure perspective and that kind of stuff, from an orchestration perspective. You just focus on your workloads, on your applications. Now, besides all the container stuff and all kind of stuff, we of course made sure that all the other type of cloud native services that people nowadays love and like to use, notifications, streaming service and that kind of stuff, that we have those kinds of services in our cloud as well. And of course we also support the concept of serverless, that you don't have to worry about servers no matter if it's a virtual machine or a container, you just submit your code. That code can be triggered by something, and only when that code runs, that's when you pay for it. Literally on a microsecond level, that's all you do. And we will take care of everything. If today only 10 users request that code, and it will run very small and it will cost you almost literally nothing. If tomorrow 1 million people request that code, we will automatically scale it for you. You don't have to worry about it. It will just run. It's completely auto-scalable, completely fully managed by you. You just focus on making your business value, writing code, and we'll take care of the rest. So the Oracle Cloud really is a platform to run any kind of application. Oracle applications, classical applications, these big monolithical applications, but also these super modern cloud native applications, serverless, containers, and those kinds of things. But besides all this stuff about running compute and running your own applications, one of the other things, of course, Oracle really truly cares a lot about is data. In the end, this is really, if you ask me, what does Oracle stand for? It's very simple. We care about that customers can manage their data and can get value out of their data. That's in a nutshell what the Oracle company represents. So the way that we want to do that is make sure that we have a very rich portfolio on top of this cloud, on top of this modern new architecture, for customers to use services like analytics cloud services, machine learning, data scientists, and all that kind of stuff to do that. But of course, one big fundamental piece of managing data, often in many applications, is a database, right? A lot of applications use some form or shape of a database. This is also how Oracle has become a very big company. So also from that side perspective, we really wanted to reinvent the wheel and really rethink about how can we run and offer our customers with a database. And we still provide today a traditional Oracle database or even a Microsoft SQL database or a MySQL database straight in our cloud, so you can have many database choices. But one unique choice that we offer in our cloud is a complete new way to run a database. And we call it the autonomous database. What is the autonomous database? It is an Oracle database. It's a standard normal Oracle database from how your applications see it. But this database is fully managed and run and operated and optimized for you by us. And actually, I'm a little bit lying there because I'm saying by us, but with us I mean not us Oracle people, but our artificial intelligence. Our artificial intelligence manages and runs this database continuously, 24/7. It analyzes the database, it provisions it for you, it creates it, it tunes the database. The only thing you have to worry about is you stick your data in it and make sure you get business value out of it. You don't have to worry about, on what data should I put in index, or what stuff should I put in memory, or how should I optimize my queries, all that kind of stuff. It does it for you. Completely automatic, permanently, non-stop. Same thing from a security perspective. If new patches come out, it will automatically patch itself. If it sees any kind of strange behavior, it will take action. And all of this without any form of interruption of the actual database running. So your application just keeps on using the database. It doesn't care of all this stuff. It just does its thing. It automatically scales, secures, and that kind of stuff. It does also automatically scaling. So if you're running the application today and suddenly you get a massive hit, much more consumers or something like that, it can instantly automatically scale. Or if you want to, you can even manually scale it to significantly large things when you see certain kind of things coming and that kind of stuff. So this is a truly new way to have data in your company, completely deburdening you of managing the database, managing the optimization, and just focus on getting the best value out of that data for your organization, focusing on being agile, coming up with new innovations and those kinds of things. Now this autonomous database we have available in two shapes. We have it for data warehousing, so it's the same database technology-wise, but from the artificial intelligence management perspective. One is optimized to do data warehousing, so it focuses on big join operations and those kinds of things. Or we have it for transaction processing, where it really focuses on making sure that when you ask it something, it as fast as possible can give a response. And that's the only thing you do. You literally, if you want to create a database like this, it's 4 questions. Which workload profile, what's your starting CPU and memory point, but that you can change at any given moment, and your password. And that's it. Literally, you click a button, and 1 minute later, you have a database that you can literally stick petabytes of data into. You never have to worry about managing it. You never have to worry about patching it. You never have to worry about backing it up. You never have to worry about making it highly available. it is completely run and managed for you, and you can focus on your business value. Now this autonomous database, as I said, you can use it for like analytics and those kinds of things for your own apps. Underneath it, as I said, we manage it for you. We actually do that, of course, with an operating system as well. And underneath it, we have something to sit there called the Oracle Autonomous Linux. Oracle Autonomous Linux is a new flavor of Linux that we have released not too long ago. We actually have been using it ourselves for a long time to actually provide the autonomous database. But this is an operating system that you can use today yourself. It is normal Linux. It's 100% fully Red Hat compatible. And you can run and install your applications, of course, on this, containers and those kinds of things. And what makes this operating system special? This operating system is autonomous like our database. It is fully run and managed by our artificial intelligence. It patches itself, it manages itself, it does performance tuning automatically itself. And again, all of that without any form of interruption. And that is important, right? Because sure, a managed company can manage your operating system for you, but if they want to apply a patch and it needs a reboot, then they need to start negotiating. Oh, when do you want to have a maintenance window and those kinds of things? Because we have the technology in-house that we can manage operating systems, patch them and all those kinds of things without any form of downtime, without any form of reboots, we can do this automatically for you without ever having any form of business impact. And this really is the fundamental concept of why we can offer up these kinds of autonomous services. Now, on top of this, we still provide lots of other applications, building blocks for you to build new applications. So if you tomorrow want to have like a chatbot application, you don't have to write that from scratch. We have an out-of-the-box service that can use that. Its data can sit in an autonomous database, completely deburdening yourself and those kinds of things. If you want to have an Internet of Things kind of network with tons of sensors, you can have that. We have a ready-to-use platform to consume that. All that sensor data needs to be aggregated and needs to live somewhere. Again, it can be stored into an autonomous database. You don't have to worry about it in any form or shape. We have all kinds of other things, machine learning, analytics, and all those kinds of things. So a broad portfolio of services truly on a cloud that is truly very innovative. Unique security from an isolation perspective, unique performance in such a way that it's not just better than any other cloud that you can imagine, but performance that can be better than your own on-premise environment. And that together with all of these autonomous technology that we offer up, we can really help you focus on your business value and not worry about all the small details and those kinds of things. Now, if you want to try this out yourself, feel free to go and try us out. We don't just offer a trial, we offer a completely always free service on our cloud. You can run what we call up to 2 OCPUs, it's 2 cores of a processor, a database, an Oracle database, for free, forever, on this autonomous database, runs on our engineered systems, our Exadata systems and those kinds of things. We give you 2 compute units with it. We give you load balancing with it, object storage and block storage. So if you want to build some kind of web application with a database behind it, with load balancing clustered, we offer this to you for free, indefinitely. There's no limitations to what you can do with it, besides, of course, the resources that you have. But hopefully, it entices you to actually try us out and test us out. We understand that we are not today probably the most well-known cloud in the environment. That was Google and Facebook and MySpace and those kinds of things were not the biggest either. But hopefully you give us a chance and you'll see that we are an extremely innovative cloud company, and we truly allow you to offer up services that you can focus on your business value and not have to worry about all the technical stuff because of our innovation. So that was my story. If you want to get more about this cloud free tier thing, we actually have a booth there. We have a small brochure about all the services you can get for free from us. The link is on there as well, so feel free to pick one of these up if you want to. Thank you very much for your time.